and I had to wear that thing. And I was like, do I really have to wear the thing, Jared? It's freaking 95 degrees outside. I'm sweating. My hair looks like I just stepped out of the shower. I got the first good look at Taliana's back molars. I was like, I love this helmet. I was freaking out.
Hey folks, Jared here with Species K9 and my lovely trainer in San Antonio, Taylor. How are you today, ma'am?
I'm all right. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Doing good. We got a little weather coming in here in Central Texas, but it is all good. It is springtime. So let's kick off today's little episode with a question and answer. So first one here from Double Dog Mobile Auto Repair. Big fan. I think this is like his second or third question that they put in here. Is there a basic certification or a mandate based of knowledge to be a dog trainer? If so, how do we know if anyone's claiming to be a dog trainer and why? Background support. So the answer to that is no. There is
Unfortunately.
zero standard certification on either the state or federal level. So I'm assuming you're an auto repair person here, Double Dog. You could wake up tomorrow morning and say, screw it. I'm going to start training dogs today and go print some business cards and off you're running. So,
Yeah, and that's actually how we got started.
yeah.
We just,
So you really need to do your research, ask questions, and be your own advocate and ask a lot of those things. So my mentor, Mike, from K91, that's kind of his mission right now in life, is to get a standard in place that uses real science and real knowledge and not rhetoric and false beliefs and hopes. And putting out good information is kind of the goal of this and of Species K9 as a whole, and educating the uneducated. So
yep.
great question. So the question that came in to you directly, Taylor, what was that?
Folks were asking, what is it like to be in the bite suit when
Hot and
you're,
miserable. End of story.
yeah, when you're agitating for a protection dog? And the first answer is hot and miserable. Yes.
So what was it like? You came over, we're training, right? We suit you up, put this like 60-pound thing on. So really quick for those that want to see what it looks like from the company I got my bite suit from is Ray Allen. It's the Kimono Light training bite suit. They're stupid expensive. I think mine was like $1,600 with tax and shipping and everything else. So they're expensive. I think it weighs probably pants, the suit, and helmet, probably close to 70 pounds.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
as someone who has been bitten multiple times through a bite suit and not through a bite suit, it is worth it. It is worth it to save yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So we geared you up, right? Put everything on, put all the safety stuff on. I use the helmet, especially when I'm working with Taliana, because the way I trained her in protection work is just natural instincts. Wherever she wants to bite, she's gonna go. I didn't do a lot of targeting with her that some trainers do. So always safety first, helmet, everything, because she's looking for skin. Like she knows she's biting a bite suit, and when she's hitting, she starts searching for openings and things like that. And I never want her to like grab somebody's face. So got you all geared up, put you in. So what was the thoughts going through your head at that moment?
Yeah, well, when you were gearing me up, I was like, damn, I feel like an astronaut. Like, 'cause you had to help me. You had to put on my shoes for me because your bite suit is made for a 6 foot, 200 plus pound man, and I had to wear that thing. And I was like, do I really have to wear the thing, Jared? It's freaking 95 degrees outside. I'm sweating so bad. My hair looks like I just stepped out of the shower, right? And after I got the first good look at Taliana's back molars, I was like, I love this helmet. This helmet's great. I'm glad you put it on me. But yeah, no, I was freaking out when first was in the bite suit. I didn't know, how is it gonna feel? Is it gonna hurt? Is the dog gonna be able to, really get my skin through it? And I can attest that when you're wearing the neoprene sleeves and everything under it, it really isn't that bad. It's more so the heaviness and the movement of it that's the bad part.
Yeah. So what she's talking about there, I have a set of them right here. The neoprene sleeves that we wear under them. Again, it's neoprene. This is stuff what wetsuits made out of. It's
Hmm.
uncomfortable. It's hot, but what it does is it prevents the pinching. So when you have the bite suit, right, you just have to have my bite suit here. So it's a big Velcro thing here. So you can see like the dogs are biting it. Yeah, I've been working with a couple dogs. The dog comes in and they bite, right? And you don't want them really holding your arm. You want to get your arm out of the way. Most of the time they slip off anyway. Because a big German Shepherd, something like that, you'd have to have like gauntlets, you'd have to have protection right there, because they're going to break your arm. The pressure alone. So the suit keeps the puncturing from happening, but you get that big pressure. And the neoprene, what happens is the dog bites and they slip, and their front teeth will pinch the skin, and that hurts. You can get little like blood blisters and things
That
like that.
hurts like hell.
The neoprene allows the pinch to happen and not your skin. So it just gives you that extra little protection there. It helps also protect with some big bites. So
Yeah.
you want to prevent that. But it's nice. You get a real scream sometimes. So that's always motivational for the dog. Um,
Yeah, well, there's the first time that I actually took a bite, it wasn't with Taliana, it was with Lego. And
yeah.
that was supposed to be more of a play thing, right? Just, oh, but I wasn't wearing the neoprene sleeves. He flipping got me. Like, I was like, he wasn't even trying to hurt me. He was just, I was like, man, if this is what Taliana's gonna do to me, I'm gonna cry. But no, like you said, the neoprene sleeves they prevent the pinching, so it just feels like pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. So we get you up, we get out there, right? We start doing the drill, waiting for the magic word so I can release Taliana on you. I alert her. She goes in a Tasmanian devil. You see that mouth open up. She goes crazy. That tail pops up. What thought went through your head at that moment? Like, oh shit, am I gonna die?
No, no, actually, during it, I was kind of relieved because when she gets the bite suit, it kind of just felt like we were playing real aggressive tug. Um, obviously, I was trying to act like she was hurting me. Um, it was when I got on the ground, and I remember it so distinctly because like you said, she goes anywhere for a bite. So I'm curled up in the fetal position on the ground, trying to let her feel like she had that win, right? And I felt her nose go under the ankle of the suit. Like I felt it, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, she ended up, I think, just biting my boot, or maybe you gave her a leave it or
Sorry, pass on, leave it.
something.
I
Um,
recall her as soon as she saw that opening. Yeah, the way
yeah,
you fell, the pant flared open enough, and she's like went underneath there.
yeah,
And so I just
yeah.
recalled her really quick,
Yeah,
and let you run out. So
yeah.
get
I remember too, I was wearing hiking boots. She grabbed my hiking boot and she shook it. She gave me a chiropractic adjustment. I swear to God, my lower back when she did that. Um, yeah, and then after that, when you say, "All right, run away," I was so determined not to do what Arwen did, which was not be able to get up. I was so determined to get up. I wasn't gonna let you have that
yeah,
laugh at
we
me.
gotta put that in here. Did you practice her flipping it?
Yeah. Yeah. So I got up and I was trying to run, which of course you can't really run in the suit. Um, yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, first and foremost, they're not comfortable. They're not, they're hot. They're sweaty. I remember, first time I met Bowie. I was in a full bite suit. We're doing level 3 high distraction stuff. It was 100 degrees outside, humid. Yeah, I was just pouring sweat. Yeah, and it was just not a fun experience. but it saves, right? Like I didn't get bit or anything. She showed a little bit of aggression after that. She wanted to play with the swift paws and everything else and play tug with me, and she gave up, any of that stuff. So we became fast friends. But it's nice to know that you have that protection there, and that if the bite does happen, it saves you and the client because bad enough bite, you're gonna go to the doctor, you're gonna go to the hospital, and they're gonna mandatory. They're gonna report this stuff to the county. Dog's gonna be quarantined, and it's just not good for anybody. So it allows us to save that for them. So,
Yeah.
but so first time, like for me, it's been a while, but I'm in mine almost every week now.
Mm.
Working with a couple different dogs, doing more of the play stuff, working on their play bite. Working with this little German Shepherd right now, Zeus. Dog has zero bite inhibition. Yeah, he loves to bite. Yeah, that's what he lives to do when we do training. And so I'm putting the jacket on, and it's play, play. We're playing more tug with him, but it's starting to get a little more serious with him as he's getting older. And so once we finish his third phase training, or we start getting a lot closer to the end of that, we're going to start doing more of the alerts, start doing the true protection, where his bite work is not so much just I want to play tug. It's yes, I'm protecting my mommy, from the big guy in the suit. So it's something we'll start building on. But yeah, I mean a couple times a week, and just playing tug mostly with the dogs, but getting them used to biting it. Because some of these dogs, they're not sport bred dogs or working line dogs. They're not. Most of them are kind of that not deconditioned, but hesitant is probably the best word to bite somebody, to actually put their mouth on them in full force. And so we start introducing that in a play mode, and they start to learn that it's okay in certain circumstances at that point. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
it's
of course, some dogs have none. A few of them
yeah,
have
yeah.
none.
Then you have dogs like Taliana, you know,
Yep.
the first day I met her, she bit me.
Yeah.
you know, so no bite inhibition. She likes to bite. So the big thing is with the bite suits and things, is big proponent of not using it with your own dog.
Yep.
Not playing tug with it. No, I don't put it on and play tug with Taliana. Lego when he was younger, I would play tug with like the sleeve where he could come up and bite the sleeve and got used to doing that and knew it was okay to start biting this thing. Um, so then when we start doing work with him as he gets a little older, then he's already understands, oh, that's okay. Now he's gonna start feeling an arm in there. He's gonna start feeling, person's
So you
connected.
weren't wearing the sleeve when you would play with him when you were
Yeah, I just
younger.
held it like a
When he was
tug
younger. Yeah. You
and he'd come in
pretended it
and
was a
bite it
toy.
and do those things.
Yeah.
So just getting him that comfortability of letting him know, hey, look, it's okay to do this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You just made me remember thinking about the bite suit. I think the first time I wore it, Taliana bit me in the ass, didn't she?
Yep. Yeah, I let her chase you, got catching her prey drive where she's chasing out of the yard, and then, gave her one little bite, right at the end there before I did a complete recall. But yeah,
I can still sit down, so the bite suit works.
yes, yeah. So
Yeah. Another question that I was asked specifically about protection, what is the scary looking muzzle that Taliana wears in some of her protection videos?
it's an agitation muzzle, and this is her agitation muzzle. So it's a leather muzzle, and I added this. So this is actually a collar from a dog trick collar, electric e-collars.
Mm-hmm.
So I added it for an extra layer of safety. Because when
Yeah.
you're dealing with a dog that's working in true protection drive, Taliana doesn't know this is staged. She doesn't know that the situation's actually controlled. She's acting off of her instinct that we've conditioned to have an emotional response to a word, and her emotional response is aggression, and she wants to hurt the person that this word's been given to. So she doesn't know that everyone's friends at the end of the day. She just knows I need to go hurt this person because 30 seconds ago they were beating on my daddy
Mm-hmm.
and I need to go solve this problem. So what happens is there's this collar that goes around the dog's neck, just like anything else.
The brown one?
Yep. And then there's the strap that goes between her eyes. And that
Mm-hmm.
helps keep this from coming off of her muzzle.
Yep.
Okay. I put this on for an extra layer of protection because things are happening, people are rolling around the ground. She gets her leg stuck under someone's leg or her face under someone's leg and just happens to pull it out. Her next move is forward. And when we're doing bite work with the muzzle, the person's not wearing a bite suit.
Right.
So why would you do that, Jared? Because we want to condition the dog to understand she needs to react regardless of the bite suit. If a dog is only trained on a bite suit, they're going to look for the bite suit to bite.
So the
And we don't
purpose
want
of the
that.
muzzle is to allow them to have bites without a bite suit present. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And teach them to use their body as well.
Yeah.
So something you'll see Taliana does, she does like this rap. She's always naturally done that since she was a little puppy, but she's using her body to hold on to the person, to keep them from going away and wanting to bite and wanting to bite. That's why if you ever see any of my videos with her where I'm playing tug, I'm wearing like pants, I'm wearing a jacket because her dew claws are really, really sharp and she likes to climb and she will just maul you with her dew claws just playing. But she's not intentionally trying to do it. It just naturally happens. So I always make sure I'm extra protected so I'm not bleeding when I'm done just playing, doing some tug with her. But
Right.
yeah, these are called agitation muscles, versus say like here's a little Baskerville muzzle that I
Just a
use for.
little one.
Yeah, I use it for the consultations when I'm talking about how to muzzle train and things. Uh, but this is just a little Baskerville plastic one, right? And they work just fine. It's hard plastic. You know, it's not as comfortable for the dog. Where something like this, it's really padded on the inside for their muzzle. It's nice soft leather. It does bruise somebody if they get hit hard enough. You know, Taylor, you can contest that. Taking a nice strike to the clavicle. Uh,
When I flew across your garage, yes.
yeah. with these on, but yeah, it's just and it also keeps people from, they're small enough where you know you really can't get your fingers in there and thing, where the Baskervilles, they have these big openings to be able to give treats and things and the
Yeah.
dogs can drink out of them. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question then that I think some people might be having. So when I see that muzzle, it doesn't look comfortable. It looks hot. It looks like the dog maybe can't breathe, can't drink water. Is that okay? Is that intentional?
Yeah, well, it's a short-term thing.
Short
This isn't
term.
going to be on for like all day going to the vet or anything like that. The only time she does this is when we're going to do protection drive and protection work with her. And typically, for most sessions of protection work, they're really, really short.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm filming it and doing all that, it takes longer for me to set up the cameras and film it than the actual sessions themselves.
Right.
You know, because they're really, really fast. Because a dog can get burnt out really quick by doing the drill too much. Because they just realize, like, I'm never winning this. This asshole keeps coming back, and you know, what do I need to do to make this guy leave, right? So you know, do 2, 3 drills. You know, maybe with the muzzle on, take him off, do one or two with a good bite suit, and that's it. You know, it's like 15 minutes of actual
Mhm.
like training. And the rest of it's the, you know, planning, okay, what we're going to do, where you're going to stand. You know, everyone wants to be on the same page and be safe and what's going to go on. So there's no surprises. So everybody knows exactly the sequence of events that's going to happen during the training.
So if you had somebody ask you, like, Jared, I have a dog. I want my dog to be a protection dog. Can you just make that happen? What would you tell them?
So there's prerequisites for species canine. Now everybody's different. As we answered with the question earlier, there is no standard for training, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, 2 years of age is the minimum age we start at. One, because we want that maturity level in the dog. And that even goes back to ethology. You know, where wild canines, you know, societies and things like that, engaging in territorial disputes and pack fights and things like that. Those dogs are older that are doing that. So we want that for us. Second, they have to go through third phase of training or demonstrate to me off leash obedience under extreme circumstances.
Hmm.
really, really high distractors that they can do recalls with this dog 90% of the time.
Hmm.
We want really high recall stuff, right? And have that true control over the dog. Um, and then we can discuss doing protection training and what that entails.
Is every dog cut out for protection training?
No, unfortunately. So for the most part, you can probably get a dog that's going to do a decent alert and show some form of aggression. Now, the caveat to that is how far would they go in the aggression cycle? So will they just stand their ground and show aggression? And if challenged real hard, will that push them into a flight mode? Or will they move forward into a fight mode and actually fight somebody? And will they go into the next, prey drive? Will they start chasing somebody? So Taliana, she does all of it. She'll stand her ground, she'll move into a fight mode, and she'll actually chase. She'll go into a prey drive. Some dogs won't do that. Some dogs, will hold their ground, and that is perfectly okay because the whole concept of a protection dog for the average person. Now, we're not talking about police dogs or military working dogs or anything like that. We're talking about just the average person wanting an extra layer in their home security plan, personal security plan, right? If your dog will stay between you and some bad guy and keep them off of you so you can get away, it's done its job.
Yeah.
Regardless if it bites and holds, chases, it doesn't matter. If you can get away from the situation, recall your dog when you're safe, that dog did its job. End of story. I don't care what you have to say.
Yeah.
It did its job. Now, if it bites, holds, pulls to the ground, mauls, shakes, whatever it does, that's just an added benefit, right? But the end goal is that you are safe, you can get away, and then recall your dog.
Mhm.
If you can't recall your dog, that's a problem. And especially if the person runs away and your dog chases them and bites them still, now you're the aggressor. Stand by for lawsuit and stand by for jail.
It's a liability.
Yes. It's just like shooting somebody in the back.
Yeah.
Someone robs you, you pull your gun, they're halfway down the street, and you shoot them in the back. I hope you got a really good attorney.
Right.
Yeah.
So when people think of protection dogs, like I know a lot of times people think of the police side of it, right? They think of like the shepherds, the Malinois. So if somebody is like, I'm just gonna go pick up a German Shepherd from the shelter and start trying to make it my protection dog, would that work? Is it an if statement? Do they have to have a relationship first?
So, yes, the way we do protection training at species, we are working off of that love for the pack, which goes back to I touched a little earlier about ethology, where there's actually studies have been done where wolves essentially sacrifice themselves to protect a pack mate. You know, uh, Essentially a 2-on-6 situation. When I'm talking to clients, especially clients that have kids, I always use the analogy of we're walking down the street. Lou Ferrigno in his prime, who was the Incredible Hulk, if you don't know, is walking down the street, 6'6", 310 pounds. And I say, hey, go over there and punch that guy in the face. No one in their right mind is going to go do that to Lou Ferrigno. However, if I say, look, if Lou Ferrigno is over here trying to kidnap your kid, what are you going to do? Mama Bear is going to come out and she's going to start fighting with this guy who's 6'6", 300 pounds, right? Fully well, you're probably going to lose, but you're going to give it your best effort. You're not just going to let him walk off with your child, right? That's the same love that we're building on with our dog. So we have a relationship with them, uh, and we're building on that. We take them to that situation where we get them to react on an emotional level based off of an event that's taking place that they're witnessing, and they learn that their voice now has meaning, and that meaning just protected mom, protected dad, or somebody in the household, and we encourage it. And so then they quickly learn, like, oh, wow, my voice saved mom from this guy beating on mom. And that was great. And we slowly build on that and we build the dog's confidence. So the dog's never shaken. And we keep building that confidence level up to and including bites, muzzle strikes and things like that, where the dog has to increase its aggression level in order to get the same result that a bark did maybe 4 weeks ago.
So it starts with a bark, and then we increase the level of commitment that the dog has to show towards making the guy go away.
Yes. The dog's confidence is never shaken. And that's what separates the average dog from a dog that's been bred to do these types of things. That's going to be really hard and be game. It's going to stick in the fight, right? So if you have a dog that's really soft and it's holding its ground, it'll fight, it's going to bite, but will it take a punch? Will it stay in the fight if pain gets inflicted on it? Now, we don't do that in training. Um, we don't ever hurt the dog or hurt its confidence. That's only time will tell if you ever have to let your dog go in a real situation. Will this dog hold its ground? So it bites onto somebody, a game dog that's, bred to do this, it's really hard. You punch it, it's going to bite you harder.
It amps it up.
Yeah. And that's going to be the big distinguishing factor between just a good protection dog and a dog that's going to stay in the fight and actually hold on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of think about like when I play tug with Bowie, for example. Um, if you kind of give her a shove when you're playing tug, she loves it. It amps her up more, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm managed to get like Tally to play tug, if I shoved her, she would be like, "Holy crap, what was that for?" Like some dogs, like you're saying, they're game. They're gonna stay in the fight. They're gonna stay in the conflict, and it's just something that's kind of like almost competitive to them, like a football player, right?
Yep.
Where it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna bring
Yeah.
it too.
It's like any combat sport, right? There's always that great scene in Rocky, right? Where it's like he's getting beat up, getting killed up there. No, he's getting mad, right? Just letting him get
Yeah,
punched, right? And so
yeah,
the dog's just getting mad. It just amps them up because they're bred to be like that. Um,
yeah,
and those fighting breeds really have that bred into them in certain lines to just fight harder. The worst thing you can do with a dog like that, as soon as they bite, is to punch them and to
yeah,
fight because that just turns them on.
yeah. I definitely think we should do either a video or a podcast specifically talking about how to break up dog fights. I think there's a lot of like myths out there
Yeah,
about how to do things, like throw water on them or do other things I'm not gonna say on the podcast, but yeah, there's a surprising amount of people that don't know what to do, especially given how many people love to take their dogs to dog parks.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot out there, a lot of myths on it and things, but it's funny. So I was at the vet today. I had to take Igor to the vet. They had some cats there that hang out at the vet, and the girl's like, "Oh, is he okay with the cats?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's just a really cool boy. And I made the comment, I go, "He's one of the most chill pit bulls I've ever met." And the girl, in her naivete, said, "Yeah, I found that it's really about the owner." And I didn't say anything. And it's like, well, Scott and Fuller would have something different to tell you about that. But, God bless your receptionist heart here at the vet clinic. So I'll let you keep believing that. It was almost a play on it's how
It's
you
all how you
raise them.
raise. Yeah, it's all
Oh,
how
how you
you raise.
raise them. It's, I wish. And it's for a good thing, too. I would hate to see what you have to do to a dog like Taliana to make her do exactly what she does naturally and genetically programmed to do. Yeah, I've had people like ask, like, would she be fine? Or like you, or like Arwen, who's my sister-in-law, and would she be aggressive around her? I don't think she would. I don't think she would care because she's such a personal dog. Like she took her to Covington, Georgia, and we walked around downtown Covington, the whole Central Square thing there where Vampire Diaries is filmed.
Why do you know where Vampire Diaries was filmed?
A different story, different podcast.
Okay.
I can
You
like
could have
I can
just
like
said
shows too.
you could have just said Alexandria likes it or something.
I can like shows too.
Okay.
It's okay.
I'm not judging. I'm just
Okay.
wondering.
Some hot chicks in that show.
Some hot dudes in that show too.
Yeah, I'm not gay, but uh, it was fun. So we went there, but yeah, I took Taliana with me, and she did great. Like she had fun. She had a blast hanging out and coming in Georgia, and just didn't have any aggression because she at the end of the day she likes people. It's just,
She does.
when she gets her magic word, she likes that a lot more.
Yeah.
So hey guys, if you're enjoying the conversation, enjoying the information, please like, share, subscribe, turn on the notification button there so you can stay informed on what we're doing. Be sure to comment. That all helps us, and following, that just gives us more and more encouragement to come up with more stuff. If you have anything you want us to discuss or talk about, please let us know in the comments or reach out directly at speciescanine.com. And until next time, train smart. Thank you.